won't hear any music on this live stream. That you need to go to. No, I haven't got off. That's mum and dad in the other room. Right. I was doing my introduction to Twitch and YouTube and all that. I was trying to do it quick. Right. You need to go to offthechartradio.co.uk to hear the music, because for licensing reasons it's not on here. This is just a behind the scenes stream and like a test broadcast. Robert was helping me out last week with a load of settings and things, so that was really good. But he also asked me, well, what's the purpose of this stream? Well, the purpose is that it's partly a test broadcast that's actually also live. There's no harm in it being live. People might enjoy seeing what goes on behind the scenes of my show, although I'm aware that it's just me looking at screens, but you never know. But it's also me talking to you, producer Mum and Dad. You come through on the Twitch as well. How do you feel being on live on Twitch?
We inadvertently came through on the Twitch, and we weren't anywhere else.
Yeah, no. Right, okay. I'm going to start my show. I'm going to turn my mic down. So people on Twitch can still hear me, but nobody else can. Right, okay. Go for it then. Hello, I hope that cut in at some sort of sensible point during the last song, because that's a tune, Inner and Hot, on the internet's #1. It's off the chart radio. It may have been a bit of something else, but I don't know that yet because I can't see that on my screen. But I'm here live now, straight after the official final Clap for Carers, although I think some people are still going to do it. I did ask Mum and Dad, what are we going to do? Are we still going to do it next week? Well, we may do. I mean, Dad got the pots and pans out this week for the first time, didn't he?
Well, we don't know. Apparently, the one that started said it would be a good time to stop it, but we haven't been told that it's officially ending.
I have, but, well... dear, right.
Apparently, she said that she didn't like the fact that there were political things being added to it.
Yeah.
And that people...
No soapbox, stay in the corner.
No, it's not a soapbox, but that people thought that if they clapped, they couldn't do anything else to support NHS, which is silly because you can do both.
Obviously, clapping on its own, apart from getting us all together and, it's a solidarity thing, but the clapping itself doesn't do anything. We are the ones that have got to do something as a result of being inspired by it, as a result of being brought together by it. And, what a sort of weird way to start my show. But anyway, thank you very much to Sam Lupton for the past 2 hours. It would have been a very slick transition between the rocky half of his show into my show. But then, of course, we've had lots of tracks in between me and him, so it didn't really work as well as I'd intended, but never mind. Here's a song that I always thought was originally by Birdie. It's not. Here's Cherry Ghost and People Help the People to start off the show. Okay, so welcome to the video stream. If you're just joining me, I'll repeat what I said at the start in case you missed it. There's no music on here. The music will be on offthechartradio.co.uk. We're broadcasting live on Facebook, Periscope, and Twitch. I don't know about YouTube. YouTube didn't work last week. But if you're listening on YouTube, welcome. It means it's working. That's good. And yeah, this is like a behind-the-scenes stream of the show. So if it sounds like half a show, that's probably true, because it's only the talking bits in between. I sometimes mention stuff if there's stuff that I'd like to record for posterity onto Twitch. I might waffle in between songs like I'm doing now. That may mean that it sounds like I'm shouting. I'm not like a shouty broadcaster. It's just that I've got the music that you can't hear going on in my headphones, so sometimes it gets louder and I end up shouting, not meaning to. So apologies for that in advance. And if you want to hear the show in full, www.offthechartradio.co.uk. We've got shows every weeknight and every morning from 9 a.m. actually. There's Sam and Joe's morning show on every weekday morning, 9 till 10 a.m. UK time. I'm about to do another link, so I'm just going to do that. That feels weird. I'm introducing a link on one and introducing a link on the other one. Oh, there we are. It's all fun. Cherry Ghost and People Help the People. And whether or not this is going to be the last clap for carers for you, it's up to you. As Sam was saying at the end of his show, entirely up to you. I mean, the person who founded it and got the ball rolling on it said that, they thought it'd be a nice time for it to maybe come to an end. But yeah, entirely up to you. If it is the last one, though, this first part of the show, I guess, is a tribute to all of those ordinary people who have, sorry, bad pen, I know, but it was meant sincerely, who've kept the country running, let's face it. Let's be honest about it. Let's be completely honest about it. John Legend, and we've got a band called Rivers of England on the way on the show. Having a debate last week on the video stream about, because I looked too blue and too pale. I think I might have made myself a bit too yellow this week. Hopefully I don't look like I'm on The Simpsons. Well, not that that's a bad thing. Lots of people are doing that now, aren't they? They're getting themselves Simpsonized. Like, send their photo to a page and, yeah, getting themselves turned into a Simpsons character. If anybody wants to do that for me, I'll do if you want. I hear noises behind me then. If you are tuned into the video stream, give me a message. If you message on where the stream's actually broadcasting on Facebook or Twitch or Periscope. I keep forgetting that one. Sorry, Periscope. Not personal. Twitch and Periscope are both ones that I've only started using now, really. Along with Discord. I'm getting into Discord now. We've basically reinvented Internet Relay Chat, as it used to be called, IRC. But I say reinvented because it does seem like it's genuinely been reinvented, as if it's IRC, but if it had been invented now, with all the modcons and hyperlinks and all sorts of things. Links to people's profiles. You can even watch people's Twitch clips in Discord. That's quite cool. Oh yeah. It would have been all gobbledygook to me a week ago as well, so don't worry if it's gobbledygook to you. The chat forum, basically. Well, very basically, because it's a lot more than that. John Legend, of course, there, and Ordinary People. I think I've been influenced by all the people I've been watching on Twitch this week, some of whom have been saying about how chill their live streams have been. And yeah, gosh, I don't normally start a show this chill. This will pick things up a little bit. Oh, yeah, nothing wrong with being chill. Rivers of England. Selfless people. In a band called Rivers of England, which I remember seeing in Arbeth, the Queen's Hall in Arbeth at a gig. So yeah, nice to listen to these guys again. If you want to hear them, www.offthechartradio.co.uk. You've still got time. It probably hasn't started over there yet because there's a bit of a time lag between the video stream and the audio stream. So yeah, if you're just joining me, this is behind the scenes Off the Chart Radio in my own studio, because we all broadcast from our own studios. With varying degrees of complexity. So if I'm not talking all the time, I don't mean to be rude to you if you're listening on Twitch and you're expecting me to be talking all the time. To be fair, the stream is... excuse me. It's called Just Coughing at the moment. There we go. Frog in my throat. I know the stream's called Just Chatting, and it is just chatting, because I can't play any of the music. Well, I could, but I'm being a good boy. Some people play music in the background, it's fine. Some people, actually, even provide a playlist of tracks that are Twitch safe to play. There's Twitch Sings as well. You can hear people doing karaoke and stuff. That's very cool. I've been watching that. Some really good duets on there. Tempted to bring my violin for that. One time, maybe. If they'd allow that. Ooh, that's nice. Doesn't always come up with the album cover. in this case. Don't do the mics after this one. It's a very deep song. Very apt song. Rivers of England and Selfless People, and yet another example of how on my tenuous track title tour, as I've called the last few shows I've done on Off the Chart Radio Pop-Up, you get these songs that are just incredible and just apt by coincidence, maybe. But I mean, all right, the track title was Selfless People, and I was giving a bit of a tribute to all the selfless people in the country right now and around the world. But yeah, wow, that was quite deep. That I got into that song. I sort of almost forgot I was doing a radio show then. Hello, producer Mum and Dad.
Hello.
I think they're another one of those bands as well that were at the Queen's Hall. Remember we had Cocos Lovers and Beavis Gatlin and Rivers of I'm pretty sure it was Rivers of England were there as well. Queen's Hall in Narberth. This has got to be about 3 or 4 years ago now. That's how long my violin stand's been there. In we went to try and basically. Mum wasn't very well that night, unfortunately. So Dad took me. I wasn't driving then on my own. I just mean I wasn't driving. I wasn't able to drive on my own. So and I hadn't had any lessons. I wasn't insured to drive, was I?
I don't know. It just
like
when you're having one lesson a year.
I think it was when I was having one lesson a year. Yeah, so I wasn't insured to drive Dad's car anyway. So Dad took me down to this gig, and me and Nathan played as a band called Beavis Gatlin, which was the Welsh translation of Thistledown. What? Did you play with us as well?
Yeah, and what's the name down the road?
That narrows it down.
An Irene.
Did an Irene play with us that day?
I think he did.
Are you sure that wasn't Carmarthen? I know
No,
he
Carmarthen
did play with
wasn't
us
it?
once, yes.
Yeah,
but,
sorry, that was
no, I wasn't
Carmarthen.
in Narberth, but you probably did you? I can't remember now.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. There we are. So I left you out. Sorry, I didn't mean to do that. So me, Dad, and
We usually do. I'm used to it now.
He's not used to threesomes.
please. Gosh.
They're nice, huh?
It was just that a film that we were watching.
Oh, The Wrong Missy. Yeah, but let's not talk about that now. It was a brilliant film, but anyway, I was in the middle of a tribute to the NHS staff and co-workers and key workers.
Well, you asked us a question.
Yeah, I know. I regret it now. No, I'm joking. Yeah, we had that, and we followed on from the last show I did, where I played Feeder, We Are the People. So that's the link. Feeder, We Are the People, Cherry Ghost, People Help the People, John Legend, Ordinary People, Rivers of England, Selfless People. And then we get to King Goon. How does that happen, I hear you say? Who on earth are King Goon, I hear you say? Well, anyway, they are Swansea legends, and they are just amazing live. There's more than 3 of them, yeah. There's, well, I don't know, I'm trying to count in my head now. Were there about 5 at one point, 6 at one point? I don't know. I should know this stuff. But to be fair, they've only just sent me this track. Actually, to be fair, no, they haven't. I was going to shout at them and say, oh, for goodness sake, I planned the show now, and you send me the track like 5 minutes to go. Well, no, that's when the track arrived in my email. It was 5 minutes ago. They actually sent it 8 hours ago, so I can't shout at them now. I apologise for shouting at you even though I didn't. But then I sort of did for comedic effect and then apologised. But then I thought to myself, yeah, but where's it going to fit now? I'd have planned the playlist around them if I'd had the track a bit sooner. But actually, again, weirdly, unwittingly, okay, it's going to depart from the track title tour for just one song. Because the song hasn't got anything to do with what I've been talking about. But Joel, who's in the band and who's played with us when we've done Hilary Young Harrod and the Blue Jays, so Hilary's been a guest on the show actually recently, only a few weeks ago. So Hilary, Jordan, Joel Howell, who's also in Kingoon, and myself were with Larry and Harrod and the Blue Jays. So you can find Larry's page online, Larry and Harrod, but you can also find Kingoon. And they are completely different, but they are an example, as I was talking about on a previous show, of these people who are absolutely bonkers on the stage, but the nicest people you could possibly hope to meet off stage. They are very good people, the most selfless people you could, some of the most selfless people, otherwise I'm excluding all other selfless people, but some of the most selfless people you could ever meet.
Yeah.
Joel will jump up with everybody and add just beautiful sounds to whatever we're doing, whether it's harmonies or, whether it's vocal harmonies, guitar harmonies, or just general friendliness. And Howell will cart stuff around and, do recordings for people. Too. He's done recordings for me and Martin. Hello to Martin Thomas if you tuned in. He's been a guest on the show years ago as well. And I thought, but how does this link with key workers and NHS and all that? Well, Joel's worked in hospitals, so he knows the score, So we all know people who've had to do what we haven't had to do. And so I guess this is a shout out to them as well, because, as I've said before, I've been incredibly lucky to have randomly ended up on a completely different track than I was expecting to. No, not on the radio show. I mean, career-wise. I'm really enjoying it, but I was asked the other day, well, how did you get into it? And I said, well, I was asked in the informal chat, which was effectively an interview. I knew that, but I was asked, is this something you've always wanted to get into, software engineering, computer science? And I had to be honest and say no. I mean, to be fair, they also had the CV in front of them, so it would have been pointless lying. I'd basically written on my CV physics, 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 physics. Physics, 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 physics. A short time doing supply teaching, where I also taught physics, and then I ended up working in an estates department for a little while, which was really good, and that ended up springing into a secondment into IC, and then I ended up doing software engineering, and then I ended up back in the very same university I'd only just left a couple of months before, doing a course on software engineering, confusing everybody because I'd now been an undergraduate, a postgraduate, a lecturer, a member of staff, and now it's like, what are you doing back? Oh, I'm actually a fresher. I don't know. I've told a variation of that story before, so sorry if it's a repeat. But anyway,
they can't get rid of you.
Yeah, they can't. They've tried. No, they haven't tried actively, I suppose. Actually, no, that's an interesting story. They didn't try this time, did they? Because the unlikely thing happened to me. The most unlikely thing. I've been trying, I shouldn't say the last year, because I had a job last year. The year before last, I was in the same boat as so many people, applying for jobs left, right and centre, not getting much at all, maybe getting the odd short contract and just getting really frustrated and thinking, is this going to be the future then? Is this going to be I never had a fixed career plan to start with, but is this going to be it? Just the odd month here and there? This was not how I planned it. And then fast forward to last year and I get offered 2 jobs at the same time. I was like, great. So it's like buses, isn't it? When you need a job, you haven't got one, and then 2 come along at once. And I just was really, really upset because one of the jobs. Rephrase that, because colleagues have been listening to my show. Yeah, I'm only rephrasing it because that's not what I meant to say. No, honestly, that's not what I meant to say. So both jobs I would have really enjoyed, and this is what I've said to both employers actually. That's what was so hard about it. It wasn't a case of just going, well, obviously go for this one. It was, well, I want to go for the one I'm doing now. I think that's got the best sort of plan going ahead. Also, I never thought, I mean, maybe this is a textbook example of imposter syndrome, I don't know, but I never thought myself good enough to be a software developer. And yet, what I never saw, so this is my lesson to you. It's not meant to be just a story about me. It's meant to be a lesson for you listening as well. You don't realise sometimes what you've actually done, maybe as a hobby. I know they always say it's a tired thing to say. Everybody always goes, oh, well, transferable skills, etc., etc. You never know when working in a shop will come in handy, etc., etc. Add it to your CV. Yeah, it is all true. There's nothing wrong with that. It is all true. But, yeah, all the times that I put together a website for myself as a hobby, all the times I did a computer program to analyze data when I was doing physics. And it just never occurred to me that I was software engineering. Of course I was. I was writing a program. What is software engineering other than developing a program, bug testing it, watching it fail, working out how you can stop it from failing. And more importantly, in terms of science particularly, but in all walks of life, it needs to produce the correct data as well. So I've done all the things that software engineers do without realizing I was effectively being a software engineer in a limited capacity, as in, I was doing it for one specific task, to analyze my data. And once I analyzed my data, that's it. I was throwing the program away. The difference now, of course, is that I'm developing software that's going to be used by loads of people, which is a great opportunity, also a great responsibility, and needs to be adaptable to lots of different people and do the same things in different ways for different people and do different things the same way for everybody and all of the stuff. Have I gone on too long, producer mum? Tell me. I don't know. Am I making any sense?
You're making your sense.
Good. Right. So, I have the mighty King Goon, who by now are thinking, oh, he's not going to play our track, he's just going to talk. But I'm just putting distance between the tribute to the Clap for Carers and the NHS and everything, and this track. I'm not putting distance. I'm trying to say it is relevant here at this point in the playlist because of what I said about, the band has key workers in it and definitely knows the score from both sides of the coin, both from not being able to do gigs right now, as every one of my friends who's a gigging musician, they're all in the same boat, but doing all sorts of online gigs, and that's brilliant to see. But also, the song is called 3 Cheers for the Fat Italian. And at first I forgot, I was just like, who's the Fat Italian? I should have asked them. And then I realised, no, I remember who this is about. I'm not going to say. I'll leave you guess for yourself. Answers on a postcard to jamie@offthechartradio.co.uk. I'll tell you if you're right or not, put it that way. King Goon, 3 Cheers for the Fat Italian. Then we're going to have some Edward II, a little bit of Claire Maguire, Red Hot Chili Peppers on the way as well. Well, at least I thought I knew who it was about. Oh, how fantastic is that as well? I've mentioned that I've been doing a video live stream behind the scenes thingamabob, whatever it is. But on that video live stream, what I've put behind me is a TV screen which shows Off the Chart Radio's listen page, and so it shows what track's playing. Sometimes it shows the album title, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it mixes up long-time friend and first unchart artist ever, Rory Furlong, with John Denver. But you'll have to listen to last week's show on Mixcloud to work out what that was all about. But King Goon has come up with their actual title. Well, it's not so much the album title, it's come up with the single title, presumably, because it's... Well, unless the single title is also the album title, but it's very psychedelic. It's actually making my eyes go a bit. It's like it's a great cover, but as I'm looking at the screen, it actually looks like one of those holographic foil things. It's jumping out of the screen, in a good way, but kind of distracting way, because I'm trying to concentrate on the show. Hello, producer Mum and Dad. What did you think of that? While I sort of adjust my eyes to no, it's not too loud. It really genuinely looks like a foil cover on a computer screen, and I don't know how you've done that, guys. I honestly don't.
That's clever.
That's hard to achieve. That's blooming hard to achieve. Whenever I've tried to draw gold on a screen, it just looks yellow. It's very hard to get that sheen, and yeah, that's cool.
They are a band people will miss seeing live though, because they're very enthusiastic.
They are, and I've probably seen them with their tops off more than any other male I know.
Yeah.
One song in, it's going to happen. But yeah, it's just because they throw so much into the performance that they get very warm. So I guess they must think to themselves, well, it's part of the act. That is part of it. But also they must just think, well, what's the point? What's the point in sweating these out? We know we're going to sweat them out, so whoop, off they go. They're bonkers, but they're brilliant. King Goon and 3 cheers for the Fat Italian. Now we're going to seamlessly go back to our tenuous track title tour. Here's Edward II, who we know, of course, from festivals. People do get ready for festivals, except maybe not right now.
Brilliant to watch.
They are brilliant to watch. We get ready for online festivals, don't we? If you are just joining me on the video stream, hello. Need to go to there to listen. Oh, I had it last week. There. Now it looks rubbish. There. Can't do it. Never be with a presenter. Have a look at social media. Oh, my YouTube's working this week. Hello, YouTube. It just didn't work last week, but that was partly my fault. I deleted the thing that made it work. And then I thought I'd put it back. No. One of those songs that's got like 3 introductions. Edward II's album title showing up as well. Fantastic. I've had an experiment this week as well. I've tried streaming and not recording. I was doing it like a local recording. That may come back to bite me, but the stream's a lot more reliable. No drop frames, at least on average. There was a time when something was loading. I'll forgive it for that. That's fine. That doesn't count. 30 frames a second. I don't think my camera's running at 30 frames a second, though. Doesn't look like it is in the preview. Claire Maguire and Are You Ready? Yeah, that was it. It's one of these tracks. I lined it up. I listened to the introduction. I thought, perfect. That'll go really nicely there. And then I played it, did something else, and thought, oh, track's finished. Oops, computer's gone wrong. So I looked at the length of time. And yeah, that is it. Claire Maguire, Are You Ready? All 57 seconds of it. I guess it's one of those tracks that either comes at the end or the start of a CD. Presumably, Are You Ready would have come at the start. I haven't looked at the track list on the actual CD. I'd have to dig the actual CD out because now it's on my computer. It's all jumbled in order. But yeah, okay. So that was that. Before that, Edward II and People Get Ready. Edward II, lovely people as well. And I'm not trying to say that remembering you equals people being lovely, because my memory is rubbish, and hopefully you think of me as a nice person. But yeah, they remembered us from like years before, just because we used to help out backstage at Pontardawe Festival, and they were regulars there and at many festivals as well. What are your memories of Edward II as well? Just being a really lively band. Producer Mum and Dad, who aren't here yet. I didn't give them an advance warning, that's why. There you go. Slick, see? Professional.
Oh, they just...
Well, they are. I'm not, I was saying.
They just used to make everybody... Because Pontardawe Festival was not always the driest festival.
Nope.
And there were times when
could pretty much guarantee it.
People would kind of be at a point of feeling a little bit sorry for themselves, shall we say. And then Edward II come on, and it just all drifted away. You were floating on a cloud. It was that's the feeling they gave you, that nice warm feeling, even if you're freezing cold and talking about you just.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think they might have been one of the bands that got me out of my tent, because I'll admit, for years and years, it rained. Yeah, it seemed like it continuously rained for years and years, but compressed into one weekend. But, I always used to think, oh, do you know what? People are just not hardened festival people. It's only a bit of rain. It's only a bit of mud. It's fine. It's absolutely fine. Just stop being lazy. Come on. Get on with it. Until one particular year where it was just a constant deluge. It wasn't just a bit of heavy rain and a bit of mud. It was just constant. It was drab. It was dismal. The skies were grey. It felt muggy. I felt awful. And it's the first year where I actually stayed in the tent and just went, you know what? Now I get it. I didn't get it before. I actually do get it this year. And it was such a shame. And I think the thing that tipped me over the edge as well was that I literally almost got tipped over the edge, because I was walking across the field and it was weird. There's some mud you can get sort of your feet stuck into, and it's not so bad. But this was mud that was just like, it had just wet itself in a really weird way that was just really slippery just on the surface. And people were falling over all over the place and slipping and sliding, and it just wasn't nice anymore. The first time it happens, it's funny. The 5th or 6th time, you nearly end up flat on your face. Not funny. And it just added to the whole thing, and obviously we worked at the festival, so we're biased towards it. We're naturally inclined to find positives, even if the punters maybe are a bit put off and decide to go home early or whatever. But it's just like, oh gosh. And it was before the festival as well, wasn't it? It was like Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday morning, Saturday night. Sunday daytime, and I think it's just cleared in time for like
cleared
Sunday
just
afternoon.
when it was coming to the end.
Yeah.
And everybody was, that year, it was really hard to finish the
yeah.
festival. Because everybody was going, no, you can't be finishing it now. Not when the sun's out.
Yeah,
no
I know.
way."
We actually got into it like for the last few hours. It was awful.
I think it
felt
picked
awful
up
for
on
the
the
festival.
Saturday afternoon, just after the parade had been rained out.
Yeah. Nigel's been in touch. He said your HR department here. Yeah, he has been my unofficial HR department for a while. Actually, he has given me lots of really good careers advice over the years, and just even if he hasn't been able to advise, just a nice bit of sort of solidarity, his experiences, positive experiences, negative experiences, and how to cope with them and everything. The thing I meant to say, just to round off my waffle earlier about jobs, is just don't underestimate yourself. Look back over the things you've done, and it's not just the odd shop job. There's nothing wrong in a shop job. It adds to your CV. You can claim lots of transferable skills from that. I'm not trying to put those down. But there's some things you might have put down yourself in your own eyes. You might have thought, oh, that was nothing. No. It could have been fundamental and you didn't even know it. And as I say, now my career is the thing I did for fun as a hobby. And they do say that if you find a job you enjoy, you'll never work a day in your life, which I also debunked on a previous show. And said, well, it doesn't really work like that. That's just a cute and cozy meme version of it. But yeah, everything I'm doing now, I'm enjoying. I was basically asked the other day in Discord, which I'm only just getting used to as well. So being on this computer science course at uni, which I've been put on through work, has inspired me to try and catch up with all the other people. I saw someone sitting in their gaming chair, and I thought, oh right, okay, I might get back into gaming, only lightly. I'm not going to become like a 24/7 gamer or anything. That's bonkers as well. I couldn't do it. I just simply couldn't do it, even if I wanted to, which I don't. But yeah, I thought, okay, and there's people talking about these programs that they use that I don't, and I feel a bit left behind. So it's like, okay, what happens with social networks and things and programs that I've not seen, whether they're TV programs or computer programs that are not used, I'll basically be quite happy being blissfully ignorant of them, and I will ignore them, and I'll keep ignoring them, and I'll make it my mission to ignore them and to remain oblivious to them, and then one day I'll just go, all right, okay, you tipped me over the edge. What's this all about? And that's what's happened with Discord, basically. And again, if anyone from Discord is listening, hello. I'm not putting down your network at all. I think it's great. But I've just deliberately ignored it for years and years and years. Very much like Twitch. I've just ignored it because, I don't do gaming. Why would Twitch be of interest? But actually, as I was talking to comedian friends, they've started up on Twitch. They've started talk shows on there. That kind of got me in through the door and curious enough to want to see what it was all about. And yeah, maybe it's partly because of what's happening now. It's not totally because of what's happening now, but maybe it's got a boost because of that. There's a huge sense of community on there, and that's really great to see. And Discord as well. Basically, they've reinvented IRC, Internet Relay Chat, if you remember that from back in the days. Remember Yahoo Chat as well? Other companies are available, but I remember getting my microphone out and putting it on and chatting to people all across the world, and it was wondrous because that sort of thing just didn't exist apart from the telephone, which definitely did exist. But that cost money. This was, the point was, okay, the internet cost money, but a lot less money. You could talk to people around the world. Remember?
The time of
Eagle and all those people that we were talking to? Yeah.
He was somebody with a fantastic library.
Yeah.
So you could ask him any question, any subject that was kind of based in like history, science, that type of subject, not personal subjects anyway, but just wanted to share knowledge and impart knowledge. And then I think he tried to say that he had about 5 different lots of encyclopedias or something going through, but yeah.
And they were incredible times, and I think that's it. It's really nice as well when you think something is gone. It's a bygone thing. It's something you used to do. You get sad for that. You get nostalgia. Well, nostalgia means being both happy and sad for things in the past. That's the definition of it. But you get sad for how quickly things have moved on and the things you don't do anymore that were mainstays in your life. And then when you finally actually allow yourself to take that first step into this thing that you've been ignoring and go, all right, what's it all about then? You discover it's all the things that you've been missing almost. You know, I'm not trying to say that Discord will not solve all of the world's problems, although the people on it might, you never know. But yeah, there's all sorts of different people on there. It's a huge mix. It seems like a really nice community. I'm not saying, as with all social media, maybe I'm just in the right places right now on there. I've found nice communities, and that's been, nice and lucky. But yeah, it's something that's much needed right now, I reckon. So I can highly recommend it. Other social networks are available, but other social networks tend to be spammed with stuff that just makes you a little bit more depressed, doesn't it? You know, they try their best to balance it out, but yeah, if you're up for a proper intellectual debate rather than an argument, I would recommend going along to some of these new ones that are out there, because I guess them being new means they're more niche. Maybe, I don't know. That helps. And it is like going back in time. It really is like going back in time to those IRC days and the mic chats, and yeah.
I just enjoy hearing the birds have a good debate every morning.
Birdsong has been
I
incredible.
haven't heard that for a while.
It really has. So as we've often talked about, many DJs have talked about, many people we know have talked about, this is not the way we would have wanted this to happen. Obviously, it's not. And some people have had to go through incredible hardship, but it has meant that we've all had time to stop and take stock. And the bird song, nature's had time to recover. There's no planes in the sky, or very few planes in the sky. There's the odd helicopter now and then. We keep looking out and seeing what's going on when the helicopter comes out. I think we're all worried that they're trying to find people who are out and about who shouldn't be, who've broken the lockdown. I don't know. Yeah. What do you think about the helicopter stuff?
It terrifies the living daylights out of me.
Yeah?
Because, the thing is, we've had it quite a lot with us for some reason.
Yeah,
if
I think
anybody goes
that's
missing,
what's the strange thing, yeah.
People go missing, or people haven't showed up at home, they automatically assume they're here. They're so popular. They've obviously heard about the radio show.
Maybe.
They just come looking for them here. No, I think it's because there's a golf course near us, and you can walk along the golf course without going along the main road. So I suppose they assume that if people wanted to avoid other people for whatever reason, that's a good place to do so. So that's why they look for people there.
Maybe. Actually, yeah, that's a good theory. That does make a lot of sense.
But because of the position of our house, when they put their searchlight on,
it always makes us think like we've done something wrong.
it always feels as if it's right above our house that they're just.
Well, they basically just light up our garden. It's just like, what have we done? What the heck? This isn't CSI. What's going on?
Oh, it was a bit like CSI though, wasn't it? In the week with the hedgehog.
Oh yeah. Oh, I didn't tell everybody about that. Yeah, hedgehogs in the garden. You can see a video of them on my YouTube, actually. And it's one of my most successful YouTube videos. You know, the ones that I worked for 6 or 7 hours on. 3 or 4 views. Put some hedgehog babies up, 30 odd views. I'm literally getting, on my analytics page that you go onto to check out how many people have watched the video, how long they've watched it for, there were literal fireworks coming up. I've not had fireworks for any of my videos that I've actually worked on. But hedgehog babies... Fine.
It was the hedgehogs getting the firework.
Huh?
It was the hedgehogs getting the fireworks.
Well, really, they did the work, yeah.
They did all the work.
Yeah. So Dad was pulling down an old shed in the garden, or the remnants of an old shed, because it sort of,
It had pulled itself down.
It pretty much had. And luckily spotted a hedgehog baby in time. Otherwise, I worry that the hedgehog baby would have been the first flying hedgehog baby if it had ended up just being sort of tossed away accidentally with the rubbish. But no, he didn't come near doing that, thankfully. That's what I was worried about. I did say, did you check? He said, no, I was lifting things very carefully at the time. So that was good. And yeah, we saw the hedgehog mum and a couple of babies. I don't know if there were more. Dad thought they were being born, but a colleague of mine said that they looked like they were about a week old. So I don't think that they'd just been born, although they were still pink underneath, but just with the spines on the top. are not the typical brown colour yet. That hedgehogs brown. But we wonder if it's the same mum that Dad rescued a few months ago as well from our drain. Because he just thought that something had fallen into the drain, was blocking it. He didn't realise it was a hedgehog until it started breathing, and poor thing was terrified. And this is advice to you all: you're not meant to disturb hedgehogs, but obviously this is the lesser of two evils. If you don't disturb it, it's either gonna die of starvation or drown if the downpipe ends up, inundating it with water. I'm not laughing because it's funny. I'm just saying, you've got to help in that situation because it's the lesser of two evils. But once he got the hedgehog out, he was trying not to disturb it. Although, I did have to stop him giving it milk. Didn't I, Producer Dad?
Yes.
Because, yeah. Why? Why did you think of giving it milk?
I don't know. Cats like milk.
Yes.
Everybody likes milk.
But they're famously lactose intolerant. As I shouted at you, and then ran in the house to get an internet signal to check on the phone just to check that I hadn't made that up and I wasn't going completely mad. And yes, they're famously lactose intolerant.
Well, you know how thick I am. I don't know these things.
Are you saying we got famous hedgehogs?
Well, maybe. But it was like giving me a pint of milk. I'm lactose intolerant. Be sneezing all day. Well, it'd be worse than sneezing. It would cause them real stomach cramps.
It has been known, Jim. Has been known that you've indulged.
Yeah, now and then.
Yeah.
More than now and then.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. But I know I have a friend who's a chef, and they get very annoyed at people who ask for dairy-free things all the way through their meal, and then when it gets to dessert, they say, "Oh, can I have the ice cream?" "Oh, it's not dairy-free." "Oh, no, that's okay." And he's just there seething, and I can understand why. I do understand why. But what I had to try and put across to him is, look, we know we've got a limit. And so the problem is that, yeah, we will let ourselves have a bit of a cheat day or a cheat dessert because, well, the dessert's at the end of the meal. So, if I get a bit of a sore throat or a bit of a cough or a bit of a sniffle, it's the end of the meal. I can go home and not sneeze over everybody else's meals. That's the crucial thing. Sorry if you're eating right now. But, yeah, that's the point. I know my limits, and I know one scoop of ice cream is going to be okay, even though I'm lactose intolerant. Milk, I'm more intolerant to. Cheese, not so bad, except for that party I was at as an 8-year-old, where I had far too much cheese and basically grew to about twice my size, and my stomach was swollen, and caused a lot of worry for a lot of people. Yeah, I don't know why that happened. It's never happened since.
Cheese on sticks.
Yeah, it was only cheese on sticks. It was cheese and pineapple, cheese and onion, but I pretty much ate the whole tray. I think probably.
Yeah. Back and forth.
Yeah, like you do with the sound right now. So it's obviously not the mic. We've swapped mics this week. It's because of where you're sitting.
I told you.
Well, you have to sit somewhere else then. No good. Let me know when you're ready and just say, "I'm ready." That was a bad pun. Also, it doesn't work if I haven't introduced the song because nobody knows that's what it's called. But this is one of the most beautiful songs I've heard. Certainly in my top 10 beautiful songs of all time. Bryan Adams. And I'm ready on the internet's number one. Look up some information on I'm ready. I've never actually heard it as a non-live version. I can hear clapping in the background. So, Jamie at Off the Chart Radio.co.uk if you want to send me a message tonight. Or a message on the social mediums. Socials. I'm not sure what it is in particular. Maybe it's just all of it. I mean, the vocals, the whistle, the guitar. I don't know if it's a power chord, because power chords you tend to think of for louder stuff, but it is a power chord. Just that way it shifts down to that minor chord. Oh gosh, I could listen to that song over and over. What did you think, producer Mum?
I love the song, but what I was thinking of was the applause,
Yeah,
because
I've never heard a non-live version of that track. So I've just played the live version, but I don't know. I presume that's just how it was recorded on the album.
no, we saw is it Folk on Foot?
Yeah,
Festival?
they had their second festival recently.
Yeah, John
both
Smith
festivals
was
are
there.
available to stream. Yeah.
John Smith, and he'd bought himself an applause button,
Oh yes.
which he said he reckoned he got it for 75 pence. So I don't know where he got it.
It's not the same one you got me, is it? The little white box with the 12 buttons on it.
I don't know, but that's what he was saying, was that if you want to cheer yourself up, which links back, I suppose, to the clapping. If you want to cheer yourself up, there's nothing better than when you walk in a room and somebody claps on your arrival, even if it's you the button.
Well, maybe if things are moving away from Clap the Carers, then maybe we should do that. Let's start that right here, right now, on Off the Chart Radio. We're starting the Clap for Yourselves movement.
Yeah.
Every Thursday, 8 o'clock. Just give yourself a round of applause. Just for getting through another week on planet Earth. Come on, let's do it. What do you think? Well, we'll do that. Right, so if we clap outside tomorrow, on Thursday at 8 again, we're not doing it for Clap the Carers necessarily. We're doing it for ourselves and the carers and everybody else. But we're also doing it for ourselves, because that's the thing, At the end of the day, I think you're right. Unofficially, that's what we have been doing. It has cheered us up, because otherwise it's just day after day. Sorry, I'm not trying to bring everybody down. I just mean remembering Ignacio Lopez saying on his stream where he does the lockdown lock-in pub quiz every week on a Saturday from 8 o'clock, which is why I end up often missing whoever's on Off the Chart at 8 o'clock. Sorry. I do try and catch up on the Mixcloud. Mixcloud.com/offthechartradio if you want to catch previous shows that we have aired over the past few weeks. But he was saying that it's great, the fact he does the quiz on Saturday, if nothing else, and it does many things other than that, but if nothing else, it just reminds him that it's Saturday, because you've got to have a fixed point during the week. Otherwise, it just all drifts and it's all meaningless. So, So Off the Chart Radio have helped themselves entirely there by having a rolling schedule. Hardly anybody is on the same day, but I seem to have gravitated to Thursday nights, 8 till 10, as a fairly regular slot, but that might change. It might be a different day. I did Thursday and Sunday last week. I think 2 shows a week's, that's pushing my limits there a bit. But 1 show a week's quite nice. Sam, actually, who you heard before me on air, Sam and Joe do the morning show 9 till 10 every weekday morning on Off the Chart Radio pop-up. He did try and get me on this morning, but I said I had to politely decline. Even though I didn't want to decline, but I said it'd be a bit naughty. Technically, I'm in work. I know some people do sneak out at work to be on the radio, but it's a bit too naughty for me.
But don't you think he should give himself a clap?
Of course he should.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every day.
Well, yeah, but does he need to? I'll tell you why. He gets Joe singing him a brand new song every morning on the show. So
wow.
Does he need to give himself a round of applause? I bet he doesn't, because he gets a new song.
Yeah.
I was even in the song.
Yeah.
I was in the song one time. I said to him, I've never been a song lyric before. I've been an answer to a quiz question when I was the Welsh Celtic Fiddle Champion in 2007. The very next year, Fiddle On magazine, which sadly isn't running as a paper magazine anymore. I don't know if I think it's been subsumed into something else. It's a shame. It's not a shame for them. They've gained some great experience and great heritage, but it's not like one of these massive company takeovers. It's 2 companies of similar aims, sort of pooling their resources when one shut down. So it's a nice thing. It's a good thing. Honestly, it's fine. It's just sad that the original magazine didn't keep going. But yeah, I was a quiz question. There was an article about the fiddle competition and the Fiddle Festival of Wales, and at the end of it, it was one of those, if you've read the article, you know the answer type questions. But you had to read through the article. They didn't make it easy. I was in the middle there. And at the end, it was, if you'd like to win a pair of tickets to next year's festival, who was the winner of last year's Welsh Celtic Fiddle competition. And it was me, so I was an answer to a quiz question. I've never been a song lyric before. I was well chuffed. Didn't quite know how to feel. It was like, oh, wow, this is nice. So, catch more ready-made songs from Joe on Sam and Joe's morning show. Tomorrow they'll be back at 9 a.m, of course, and it's every weekday, so not on the weekend, but every Monday to Friday. And ready-made could be another pun, because we're carrying on with our tenuous track title to, you might have noticed that the word ready is a recurring theme, and it will be for the next 1, 2, 3 songs. So we got the Chili Peppers now. Red Hot Chili Peppers and Ready Made. We've got some Creed on the way. A little bit of Haim coming up. Haim, why do I keep saying it wrong? I know better as well. Haim. Bit of U2 as well, maybe. We'll see how much we can get into the show. This is Off the Chart Radio, www.offthechartradio.co.uk. Great bass lines in this. That's not good. Notice that one of my faders on my mixing test doesn't go all the way down to 0. I mean, something stuck in there probably, which isn't great. Well, seems to have dislodged it by using the well-known trick of just sliding the fader up and down and degunking it. Don't know if that's recommended. No idea. There were a few dropped frames earlier, but that wasn't rendering. It was the internet this time. So, I mean, it's not fine, but it means it's nothing to do with my computer this week. So I think the settings have been optimized pretty well. I'm happy with that. Not quite sure why the camera's running so slow. No, maybe it's not native resolution, I'm not sure. I mean, it's watchable. It's perfectly watchable. It's just, I can see that the frame rate of the camera is slowing down. Arcadium, yeah. Doing really well on the album cover matches tonight. As I've said before, I'm listening along with you, remember, and I'm getting to hear on this tenuous track title to tracks from my own music collection that I might never have heard before. Creed and Are You Ready? Right, so are you ready for what's to come? Because it's a tune. It is a tune. And if this doesn't make you feel nostalgic, I don't know what will. Well, maybe nostalgic things, I don't know. But this makes me feel... This takes me back to school trips in the minibus. It's listening to the radio all the time. Because I didn't have an MP3 player back then. I don't think they'd even been invented. Yeah, for most of my youth. The music, all the music I knew came from one station, and that was just a pop music station local to us. That was it. In totality. And yeah, mine got blown when I was in college. All the music I discovered while I was there. Well, there was a band that wanted me to play with them, and I actually did record with them about 10 years later, but at the time, they played me their music. I was just like, I reacted like it was some sort of experimental freestyle jazz. Atonal jazz or something. But now I listen to it, it's just like, well, it's just soft rock. It's just kind of like, you know, I wouldn't call it middle of the road psychedelic, but it wasn't that off-piste. And for some reason, 16-year-old me was just like, oh my god. I don't know what this is. Bizarre. Very bizarre. Band called El Goodo. Check them out, they're very good. ELGOODO, El Goodo. Brilliant band, brilliant guys as well. So, just seen somebody's just tuned in. Hello. If you've just joined me on the video stream, there's no music here. The music's all happening on offthechartradio.co.uk, so I won't be offended if you drop into here and then go straight to the radio stream. You'll catch the end of a tune. Republica's ready to go. So if you can see me whopping, that's why. Got that in my headphones. You can't hear it, because... Well, I did that deliberately. You shouldn't be able to hear it. The first week I did the video stream, YouTube actually picked up the headphone leakage and content matched some of it, which is fine. It contact matched it, and it said, this is fine. Just, we're going to, you know, give credit. But I thought, I don't think the artists really want any royalties from a wispy 1.5 seconds of distorted track. Personally, I as an artist wouldn't be particularly interested in getting royalties from that, but you know, so automated content match does, I guess. It was quite funny, but I don't want it to happen all the time, because you know, wouldn't want to accidentally run aground on a track that wasn't on YouTube's content match, or that the label didn't want, hadn't authorized to play. And I'm expanding my YouTube at the moment and using it to do lots of different things. I would like it not to be just taken off, because I'm quite busy. I might not notice the strikes mounting up. I don't think it happens like that. Copyright strikes are for very serious things, but still, I don't want to risk it at all. Better not to risk it at all. Like staying at home during the lockdown. You know, 100% guaranteed to stop you catching the virus from outside. Unless people are coming and going into your house, of course. That's the concern. You live with other people. We're all together here as a family in the Nemeth household. Yeah, it is something to be concerned about when myself or my sister go out to do the shopping. And make sure we're not bringing stuff back, because we could be asymptomatic. Anyway, why am I talking about that? On my mind, I suppose. This is just chatting, after all, if you tuned in on Twitch. If you're not, and you're listening on one of the other ones, twitch.tv/Jamie Nemeth. haven't got the URL on YouTube yet. I haven't got enough followers. Need 100 people subscribe to the channel before I can get a name for that. Although I do have youtube.com/JamieFiddle, which is my music channel. Oh yeah, I've got a bit more energy now. Republica and ready to go. And another tune straight up. Did a bit of Haim now on the radio. So the intention of this stream is that it's behind the scenes of my radio show. I'm doing a live radio show right now, which is why, if you're watching on Twitch in particular, this is why this is not really typical of most Twitch streams that I watch. You're normally playing a game, or at least doing something. And just chatting normally means you're not playing a game, you're just chatting. And I am just chatting. You don't hear the music on this channel, but then there's long gaps, and the long gaps are just because I'm actually here on my live radio show right now doing the show. So that's my primary goal. But this is also a live test, live for what's it? 2 weeks on Twitch. I think I've been doing it for about 5 weeks on other platforms. Just streaming it, seeing what happens. I've gradually, week on week, eked up the settings. Started off at a really low resolution. In fact, I made a deliberately bad stream just because I thought it might get through. Really heavily compressed, really low bit rate, really low resolution. And I thought it was going to look even worse the other end. And to my surprise, it looks okay. I was like, okay, worth pursuing this then. So I thought, right, this will break it. 720p resolution. Let's go from 20 to 25 frames. Oh, no, I went from 480, I think, to 720p resolution. Stuck at 20 frames a second. That worked. Then I eked it up to 25 frames a second. That seemed to work. Haven't dared to go full 1080p yet. I don't think there's a point. 720p is enough. 720p is normally the maximum YouTube shows anyway. But yeah, now I'm 30 frames a second. Still surviving. Well impressed, because I'm only on broadband. I'm only on ADSL broadband. Maybe I'll upgrade to fibre, but again, if lockdown has taught us anything, it's use what you've got. Don't give up on what you've got. Right, let's see if I can pronounce the name correctly now. Haim. This really would have been a more appropriate track to play when I was talking about those days that have gone, school days. I keep seeing retro Walkmans on people's channels. There's a transparent Walkman the other day. I didn't even know they made those. Techmoan, one of the channels I'm a big fan of on YouTube. He's just decided to go on a Japanese auction site that he uses quite often. And out of curiosity, this is where curiosity can get you, producer Mum and Dad. You're probably very glad that I haven't done the same thing. He decided to buy a job lot of miscellaneous mini-disc players. Didn't know whether they worked or not. That wasn't the point. He thought, I'm just curious what they look like, because in Japan they have different makes of mini-discs than we could get over here. And so it was a job lot of about 100 assorted mini-disc players. Or maybe it was 50 he got. Anyway, it looked huge. It looked more like 100. Bonkers. Well, what would you have thought if that had turned up at the door?
Send it back.
You probably would have just, yeah. I mean, what's he going to do with all of them?
So long as he didn't order it in from a certain country. Wonderful, wonderfully kind gift gesture.
Oh, yeah, yeah. American friends of ours. they thought it would be a lovely surprise because they saw them on offer. So it's not something, they didn't just randomly go out and buy. I was talking about MP3 players. They didn't just randomly go out and buy iPods for everybody. I don't need to think that. They weren't frivolous with their money. They're very good with their money. But they saw this brilliant offer on some iPods, and they thought, well, that's too good to turn down. That would make a nice present for Jamie and Josie, our friends, Angela and Chandra, that have helped us out when we came over to visit. So hello to Victor and Carolyn if you tuned in. They may be. This would be a lovely gesture, just to say thank you, I get the impression it didn't cost them very much. Obviously, it's still substantial. It wasn't one of these iPods now. The iPods skyrocketed in price, and iPhones don't get me started. But this was the traditional, the stereotypical iPod look. The iPod icon. The white iPod with the click wheel and the push button in the middle and the black and white screen. The sort of the iconic one, or one of the iconic ones, I should say. So they got a fantastic deal on these. I think a mini one for my sister, and I had one of the classic ones. So I had a bigger music collection. That made sense. Seemed fair. But yeah, what they didn't bank on was that there were things such as import tax, which I didn't know anything about. Neither did Dad when he was woken up. Were you working nights at the time?
Yeah.
And he was woken up and by the postman and went to, well, you can tell the story. Or not.
Or not?
Go on, you tell the story. You just winded me up.
Yeah.
You just enjoy winding me up, didn't you?
No. I just couldn't remember how much.
You can't
it was.
remember? Or how much it was? Okay,
yeah.
right.
Mommy just reminded me. I just woke up, come downstairs just in my trousers, open the door. Oh, big parcel, lovely. Thank you very much. Yeah, can I have £37, please? And I just looked at him, stupid, and then panicked, and then run around the house looking for money.
And couldn't find any.
No.
So we had to send the parcels back, and we did pick them up from the depot afterwards when we managed to get some money together. But yeah, it was a bit of a shock, because that's not, especially when you're half asleep. This is not normally what happens. Post is sent, you put it in the letterbox, or you put it in the parcel point, it gets sent, it gets delivered. If it's too big to go through the door, okay, sometimes you get a slip to say it's too big to go through the door. But it gets delivered. It gets given to you. Once it gets to you, that's normally the end of it. This was just alien to us. It's like, you've got to pay to have a parcel. No, the people on the other end pay that. That's how post works. You put a stamp on an envelope. Well, actually, no. Doesn't it get returned to sender if it hasn't got enough postage on it? You don't send an envelope without sufficient postage. It doesn't get to the address. I'm right, aren't I? It just doesn't get there. It either gets returned to sender or it just doesn't go. I don't know what happens to it if it doesn't have a return address on it. But they don't bring it to your house and then say, oh, by the way, they didn't pay enough postage. So it's just completely alien to us. It's really, really weird. But yeah, we managed to get them, and it was still value for money, just not quite as good a deal as poor Victor and Carolyn had over there. They didn't expect us to have to pay for our own gifts. That was just as alien to them as it was for us. They were horribly upset about it. It's like, no, don't worry, it's not your fault. But I think that's part of what happens on this Japanese auction site as well that Tecmo is a fan of. That they are like an intermediary. So obviously the Japanese auction sites will tend to be in Japanese because they're based in Japan. And they speak Japanese in Japan. So, that makes sense. So obviously from anybody who isn't Japanese or who hasn't learnt Japanese, or for whom Google Translate doesn't necessarily translate things properly, you're just stuck. So this site is like an intermediary that you can go on to, and they'll handle things in English for you.
Yeah, because you have to be careful, don't you?
Yeah.
The sites where it's only £1.
Yeah.
And £59 postage.
Yeah.
For something really, really small.
I laugh at lots of these TV adverts that come on now. It's like, they're offering free photos. And okay, it's still a good deal, you could argue, but because you're only paying like £7 or whatever. But it's like, free photos, completely free, only $6.99 postage. It's like, well, then it's not free, is it? And also, if you paid for the photos, you'd never pay $6.99 for posting a little envelope of photos. Come on. You'd pay a quid at most, surely. £2 maybe. It's a heavy letter. But no, I don't believe it for a minute. It's like, yeah, it's one of those. You see it on eBay all the time as well. And that's not eBay's fault. It's just, I'm talking about the sellers. The sellers have got control over this totally. There are other auction sites available, but no, there are, you see it all the time. You see identical listings, and it'd be like, this item is £14 with free postage, or £11.99 with £2.99 postage, and it's like, yeah, that's virtually the same. It's a couple of pence difference maybe, and it's like, yeah, I see completely what you're doing there. What's the point? Just just put the postage on it if you're going to put the postage on it. But I think what it is, there's lots of sites, like with social media advice, there's lots of sites going around giving advice about what to do, and people say, oh, offer to treat. If you put free postage, it's more likely to sell. But some people prefer the honesty of having the postage on it. So if you put both listings up, you cover both bases. But there's not different prices for both. Both the same price. It's just whichever psychology the buyer has got. I suppose it makes sense to the sellers. That it improves their chances of selling stuff. Yeah, but if you end up paying more postage than you intend, it could really be a bad day, couldn't it? Here's Daniel Powter. Smoke coming in from outside now. Somebody's obviously having a barbecue. Oh, getting rid of some rubbish again. Getting to my throat. So apologies if you hear me doing that. It's not a virus. Daniel Powter and Bad Day on the internet's number one. I'm having a bad of a bit time with my throat at the moment. Fires again. Goodness sake. It stopped for a few days, but now at least it's sort of wood smoke, but it's like, yeah, it's not what you think. This cough is purely fire induced. Why in the middle of my radio show? Dear. Yeah, it's streaming in through the window at the moment. And my eyes are starting to water now, so yeah. I'll just keep playing music then, while I can see the screen through the tears. You two and beautiful day. Codaline coming up, bit of the cause. Let's see how far we get along this tenuous track title tour. Close that window. Beer off and teleport. Stream. Right. Oh no, my world is literally falling apart. As in my. There you go. Back to normal. This is as if it never happened. Time space continuum restored. Right. Probably heard some headphone leakage there. I'm going to get a content match, aren't I? Oh well. It wasn't intentional. Come on, I'm making every effort to be good and not play music that I'm not licensed to play. I've put the banner up. I've got a complicated mixing desk set up to make sure that only the audio that's meant to be getting to the online stream is getting there. So, you know. That's my defence, officer. And the other thing is, you know, I say I'm being a good boy, but the reality is I'm doing a radio show, right? And I've done student radio. I used to back in the day. Done student radio for years. Doing internet radio, I've familiarised myself with all the rules, you know. And so, at the end of the day, I know better. People who don't know better can claim ignorance. I can't. So I'm not going to. I'm just, you know, playing a bit of YouTube Beautiful Day at the moment. Got Codaline, brand new day coming up. So if you like the music mix, put it on the background. And or watch this in the background, put that in the focus. I don't know. I know some people last week were trying to have both the video stream and the audio stream on their phones and couldn't do it, unfortunately, so that's a shame. On mine, it does let you, but what happens is if you've got the audio stream on in the browser, let's say, it'll keep going for about 20 minutes, and then it'll stop, and you have to close down the video, go back to the other one, because you can only have one app open at a time. Well, strictly speaking, you can have two, but most apps don't support split screen mode, so lots of apps don't. Not about most. There we are. Me giving spurious mobile phone things. I don't know. Mobile phone advice. Mobile phone touch chatting. If you're watching on Twitch right now, say hello. Let me know who you are. If you want to, you can remain anonymous if you want to. That's fine. But I just know that this person has been watching all the way through. Well, at least for the last hour. So thank you for sticking with the stream and supporting me through my sort of Twitch trials. I am planning to do some gaming, even if it's the odd retro game. In fact, that's what I'm going to try and do, is get a retro emulator running on the computer, because until my new graphics card arrives, I'm running... I tried AimLab the other day. It's running about 10 frames a second. It's not very good. Well, AimLab was good. Frame rate's not so good. It can do better. Nearly downloaded the Quake pack the other day. Only £16. It's got Quake 1, Quake 2, Quake 3. I've got Quake 3 on CD, on DVD. But you get Quake 1 and 2. Quake 1... It's on an old computer somewhere. I've long lost it. Never had the disc, I don't think. I did have the disc, I've lost it. So it's a way of getting all of those games. But I don't know. This is what you can maybe tell me. Do people still play Quake 3? Because I'd love to have a nostalgic game of Quake 3. Maybe I can set up my own server. Maybe I can do that. Maybe that can be a Twitch thing to do. Set myself up as a retro Quake 3 gamer. And while I'm there playing on my own server, I can win every game. And then the minute just one person joins, everybody's going to be better at me than Quake. Well, that's where AimLab comes in, I guess. I really do wish that something like AimLab had been around in my Quake days. Would have improved my aim. Pun intended. It would have improved my aim dramatically. Because, yeah, it just used to be rubbish. Rocket launcher was the best weapon because it was the least precise. I was quite good at that. Right. Codaline and Brand New Day before that. U2 and Beautiful Day. How did we get onto this day theme then? I'm doing the Tenuous track title tour, and it's where track titles link together. Oh, yeah. Oh, that's why. So, Bad Day by Daniel Powter, Days Are Gone by Haim, and we had Ready to Go. So, I loosely linked together Go and Gone there. Yeah. Sometimes I have to be more tenuous than other times because I run out of tracks, although I don't run out of tracks a day in the title so easily. There's another track with Day in the title coming up now, in fact. It's by The Cause. Again, much as I love The Cause, don't think I've heard this one. It's called All in a Day. And then we might have time to squeeze in 2 more tracks. Charlene Spiteri. Might even have some Beatles to finish off. I don't remember this Ghost track at all. The thing with album tracks, they just sneak by you. Snuck by onto my computer. Yeah, quite often there'll be a song that I'll really love, and then I'll hear it come up in my music collection when I'm listening on random. And I'll go, I don't own that track. It's come over in a compilation album that I've just whizzed in. Imported the CD. Not even paid attention to what I was importing. And it's like, oh, cool. I didn't know I owned that track. This is cool. Bit of a dark track in a way. Covered up by The Cause general positive sounding music. Heart-aching. Suppose I've got a couple of minutes actually until the next track to show you around the studio. Not much to show you. I just need to get out of the way. So put that poster up because I do love OTC. OTC, off the chart radio. OTC. We're here as a pop-up station at the moment, and actually, so that's the TV. So those are photos from London Summer Jam that myself and Jason Moyle did in 2012 and 2013. I don't know if those shows are still up on Mixcloud, actually. No, I think I took them down. I'll have to put them back up. So if you want to listen to past radio shows of mine personally, you can go onto www.mixcloud.com/Jamie Nemeth. But you can also go on to www.mixcloud.com/offthechartradio for past shows. Love the fiddle. Obviously, I'm a violinist. I'm going to. But it's also great when a band manages to get sort of violin at all. Clean Bandit, obviously, Levelers. When somebody actually manages to get folk fiddle in, that's, pretty impressive. I think how successful the Cause were. I'm not saying they're not successful now, you don't hear so much from them now. Basically a folk band in the charts. Yes, we should have more of this. Arguably not doing entirely folk songs, entirely traditional songs, but got a folk core. The Cause and All in a Day. I just love the fact that we've got just such what's the word I'm looking for? Such blatant fiddle on essentially, a chart album. I think that's always good. What do you think, producer Mum and Dad? Because it's something that doesn't happen very often, or it doesn't happen often enough, in my opinion, that you have a song that's like, or a band that's essentially a folk band, but on the charts. It does happen now and then. Just seems to be few and far between. Mumford and Sons, I guess, is the closest I can think of most recently. And I mentioned the Levelers in the past. The Levelers were in the charts quite a lot, weren't they? Who am I missing out? What other folk bands have been? Clanad, maybe? Things like that. Enya. But, yeah, I'd love to hear more folk in the charts. Just often. More often. What do you think? Thinking nothing at the moment.
I get folk rock.
Oh, yeah. Okay, that's more often than... Yeah. You're being very quiet. Have I just asked an impossible question?
I was trying to think of a band.
Oh, no. I mean, yeah. This is... We found
Is that what the band was called?
No. It would be a good name for a band, wouldn't it? Right, I think, I know normally I make the argument at this point that it's approaching 10 o'clock, but because of the clap for carers and because I started 10 minutes late, I haven't had my full 2 hours, but actually I'm getting quite hungry again. And I got a bit of a sore throat because of this blinking smoke.
Yeah, the smoke's got round the back now as well.
Yeah, I was going to say closing the window in here didn't help with that. So
you drove it round to the studio too. That's what you did.
So yeah, public announcement. If you're thinking of lighting a fire, please think of the effect it has on poor radio presenters who are stuck at home at this time, presenting from home, and you go and light a blinking fire in the garden at 10 o'clock at night. Why are we lighting fires at 10 o'clock at night? That's a daytime thing.
They must be sitting outside and they're cold.
Yeah, I don't really appreciate it during working hours either, but, 10 o'clock at night. Some people are going to bed. You don't want to be coughing and spluttering in bed.
They want that helicopter to come down again.
Oh, winds me up. Anyway, yeah, see, people must think that nothing winds me up. It's like when, they have me to rate music. Jason Moyle will have me on Hit Miss or Maybe, and I'll say everything's a hit. More or less. I haven't got a bad word to say about anybody, but, I am, there are things that get my goat up. And that's one of them. Oh, I can taste it now as well. It's like, goodness sake. Right, well, got a couple more tracks to play.
Smells like my cooking, Jim.
No, it doesn't. Doesn't smell like cooking at all. It smells like a piece of furniture.
As long as it doesn't taste like it.
As long as it doesn't taste like it. No, we don't eat furniture normally. Charlene Spiteri and Day Tripping. You might see what the Beatles song's going to be from that. Mike's on. So I'm gonna do the last link. If I could say it. Smoke is really getting to me now. I'm not acting this. Yeah, it is a good time to end. The smoke is now really getting to me. I can taste it. It's going down the back of my throat. It's gone right into the little, the corners of my eyes. This is ridiculous. Nice, lovely, pleasant wood fire. No objection to that. This stuff. Ugh, anyway, Charlene Spiteri and Day Tripping. You could argue that I couldn't not play Day Tripper because I've got a theme that's got the word day in it. But then I can't really not play Day Tripper after a song called Day Tripping. That's just too close to not play it. That would be unfair not to play it. I was thinking, shall I dedicate this to somebody? And then I thought, no, maybe I shouldn't. And then I thought, actually, no. It is somebody who has been mentioned on the station. So maybe I could end the show by dedicating this song to Aaron Glover's Richard of the Week. Don't copy him. Any final words, producer Mum and Dad?
Yeah, the group I was trying to think of was Lindisfarne.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yes, yeah.
We saw them in Ponty.
Oh, I didn't know they come to Ponty.
Yeah, my mum must have seen them.
Yeah, I wasn't around then, was I?
No, we saw them in Ghost Signing.
I know they were still going when I was alive, yes, but...
Ponthieu.
Very nice. When I said don't copy him, I meant you can copy Aaron Glover if you like.
With
don't
Richard,
copy
actually.
Don't copy the Richard, yes.
Yeah, you mentioned the Richard. With the Richard, that's who we saw them with.
Well, you don't want to copy that Richard either, but that's for other reasons. Yeah, I'm not going to tell you that story. Just know it involved a Richard. I ended up offending somebody, a colleague once, actually, one of my teaching jobs years ago. I'd said about how I was named after a Richard because one of my names is Richard, and unfortunately, that Richard that I was named after did something that wasn't very nice. Not criminal, just not very nice. And so I said, I don't really like that name anymore. And my colleague said, oh, my husband's Richard. I went, oh. Not all Richards are bad. Dig, 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 and dig, and dig. It's like, whoops. Just insulted a colleague's husband. But yeah, there we are. Richard was my first name until I was 18, and I discovered that my first name actually wasn't Richard, which confused people in university because I signed up for they had this dining card scheme. You could put, it's a prepaid card. You put money on it, and then you get money off. It's slightly cheaper to buy your food. I don't know if they're doing that card anymore. That was years ago. But yeah, in the first year I went into the office and they were saying, oh, here you go, Richard. And I was cringing because I'm Jamie, but I took it because, I wrote Richard down on the form. It was my own fault. So I wasn't the Richard of the week. I was the Richard of the year. But yeah, I went in the next year and they said, here's your card. I thought you were Richard. And I said, yeah, that was last year. So leaving you with the Beatles and Day Tripper and an announcement, really slick, as I always do, because I always make sure I put our schedule on the screen before I'm about to talk about it. I don't leave it like right when I'm talking on the mic or anything. That sound that you could hear of me tapping the keyboard was completely coincidental and just because I'm winding up the stream. I was talking about Aaron Glover. He's on tomorrow from 7 p.m. and Jay Adkins from 8 p.m. But way before that, if you're up at 9 a.m., Sam and Joe's breakfast show, which is actually Sam and Joe's morning show. I keep going to call it breakfast show, and now I have. So there you go. The smoke's getting to me. Stay safe and good night, everybody.
Night, stay safe.
Good night, all of us.
Oh, loud. No need my right headphone. That's the track. That's the Beatles track. It's deafened me in one ear. I found daft as well. When I said about the smoke coming in, how awful it was. Somebody on Facebook even said to me that they thought they thought it was my sense of smell being affected, I should get a test. It wasn't that. It was smoke. I could tell it was smoke. Okay. So if you have been watching me on Twitch, and I say you singular because there's one person and they're watching on Twitch. So if that's you, thank you very much for sticking with me for the entire show. I know it's a bit of a strange stream because there's lots of silences. So I hope you had the radio show on as well and you enjoyed that. And it means a lot that you've stuck with me all the way through. And I hope that you'll join me next Thursday from 8 o'clock. And in a few weeks' time, because Off the Chart Radio is actually going to be winding up as lockdown starts easing. Oh, somebody's just joined me now. Hello, welcome to the stream. I've literally just finished my radio show. I'm about to go. It caught me on the hop. So yeah, thank you for tuning in and helping me experiment with this, because the point is, you know, you being here is really helpful to me, as well as hopefully being enjoyable to watch and listen to. Bits in between the music because I'm not playing any music on here. But yeah, I am going to try and get into Twitch properly. I've been watching lots of people. I can recommend the called Kitchen Sink show, which is Sarah Bridgman and Lucy Orchard, two local comedians to me, who do a chat show, and it's really good. They have a guest every time I've seen them. At least I've only seen them twice, but you know, I presume that that's an every week thing. And the account's Thalia Dottier. I don't know. You can see it on my recommended things. If you're watching on Twitch, there's the channel. It comes up with channels I recommend, and it's one of those. And yeah, I'm going to try and get into this properly. Not sort of double heading on Off the Chart and Twitch. It'll be just Twitch then. It won't even be on YouTube and Facebook and Periscope and all those. It'll be just Twitch. And I'll try and get into some retro games. So yeah, back in the day I used to play Quake. I seemed to stop when it came to Unreal Tournament. Not because Unreal Tournament wasn't good. I think it's just because I didn't have it. Couldn't afford to buy it, so it just sort of fell away. And then people stopped being on the Quake servers, and I just stopped playing it. You know, I used to play it every night. Well, I used to play it till ridiculous o'clock. Bad actually. There was one time when my dad was working nights. I ended up saying, "Oh, you're back early." He wasn't. It was 7 o'clock in the morning. It was time for me to go to college pretty soon. So I stayed up all night game. I'm sure that's a familiar story for most gamers. Not telling you anything new, but it was new to me because I didn't think I was a gamer. I'm obviously if there'd been medals and badges that you could earn on websites like there are now, I'd have had the badge for the up all night and Quake badge. But yeah, as I've been getting more and more into Twitch, I've realised, oh, hang on, yeah, I used to play GTA as well. What am I on about? I keep saying I'm not really a gamer. I've only played Quake back in the day, a few years ago. No, I've been playing GTA relatively recently. I bought GTA San Andreas. I bought Star Trek Legacy as well. That's where things fell apart because it was I got an upgrade for my computer. It was the right upgrade. Take the headphones off. I don't need them now. There's nothing coming through them. Yeah, I bought a graphics card, which was a suitable graphics card for the game. But apparently there's a bug in the game, so I think I paid about 25 quid. I thought I don't normally pay full price for games. I wait for them to come down in price and get them second hand or whatever. I'm going to pay full price for this game. I really want. I got two games at the same time. Paid 25 quid for each of them. It's the most I paid for a game at the time. I know now, like 40 quid is typical, 50 quid is typical. But yeah, I paid about 25 quid for these games, and one of them didn't work. Oh, one of them was GTA actually. So GTA worked fine. Star Trek Legacy didn't, and I just thought, well, that's a bit of a waste of 25 quid, and it demoralised me. I just stopped gaming, and then I have time for it. Either in the figurative sense, I didn't have any time for it. I just couldn't be bothered with it, and also I just ran out of time to play games. I was doing other things, and when teaching that, ran out of time to do most hobbies. But now I'm doing software engineering, so it kind of makes sense. People who are techie software engineers tend to be gamers. It's not a given, but I'm around people who are playing more games and talking about more games, and it's starting to make me nostalgic for gaming and think, yeah, why did I fall out of it? Why did I let that happen? And I'm just going to give it a go, I guess. Start off small. with some games that my computer can handle. Because this graphics card, I've ordered a graphics card, and it's supposed to be on its way. It's not the company's fault. It's not the supplier's fault. Obviously, we're all in this situation where you know, everybody's in the same boat. I don't blame the company at all. I sent them an email, and I started the email by saying, of course, I understand that it's beyond your control. Just wondered if you could give me an estimate on when the card's arriving, because I put it in a nice way. I just said, because I've got a project that I'm planning. The project is me experimenting with Twitch, but that's a project. A valid project's just a hobby. Hobbies are valid projects, aren't they? So I have ordered that, but it said it was going to arrive last Friday. I pre-ordered it. It said due last Friday, and now it started just to say overdue, overdue, overdue. Again, it's not the company's fault, but I thought I'd have it by now. And when I say new graphics card, it's, you know, you might think, and you'd be quite right in thinking, well, why don't just use the old graphics card? This computer is the one I got down off shelf that had been sat there for 7 years. It doesn't have a graphics card. It's got the inbuilt graphics. Obviously, it does have a graphics card. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to see anything on the screen. But it's just got its inbuilt integrated graphics. So I'm just waiting for a card. It's going to be a modest card, but it's going to be a card. At the moment, it doesn't really have a graphics card. Anyway, yeah. So thanks for sticking with me. Hopefully, the streams are going to get more interesting. If they don't get more interesting, at least they'll get more gamey. Because, yeah, I know Twitch isn't only a gaming channel, and it's diversifying, but it's still predominantly a gaming channel. It'd be nice. I don't have my food now. Hungry. Yes. Right. Well, unless you're listening in a part of the world where it's not night, in which case, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night.